Love and Light. This is Healthy Talk Show for Monday, February 25th, 2019. I'm Robert.
And I'm Marissa.
Healthy Talk Show is a live weekly discussion of various topics relating to health. We stream live on Sundays, not today, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 2300 UTC at healthytalkshow.com/live, with podcast versions available soon after over at healthytalkshow.com/subscribe. Subscribing to our podcast is 100% free, and to make sure you get every episode as they're released. healthytalkshow.com/support. If you'd like to support the show financially using PayPal or Patreon, it's value for value. If we provide you value, please provide some back in whatever form you feel. Feedback is valuable. Rate us on iTunes, email us, call us, leave us a voicemail, 509-878-3229. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, healthytalkshow.com/YouTube. Show notes for this episode with links of everything we talk about are located at healthytalkshow.com/HTS09. Whew. Show housekeeping. You were sick yesterday.
Yeah, so I apologize if my voice is a little funny. I'm gonna try not to cough into the mic or anything like that. If you wanna get me a mute button,
cough button.
healthytalkshow.com/support.
Yeah, that'd be a great purchase for us to have.
Yeah,
right here, just be pretty cool. What else? Our guest and guest co-host thing that we're going to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Briefly, we are going to change the format of how we record the show. Why am I getting an email? Hold on, sorry, distraction. Things popping up on my screen. The way we record the show, we were originally bringing in guests to interview them as part of Healthy Talk Show proper, the podcast. We're not going to do that anymore because it makes scheduling really hard. And we'd rather do interviews where it's more free form and we don't have to worry about scheduling conflicts and all that good stuff. Because last week with Haley, our guest, we had a 30-minute interview. And about 5 minutes after we pressed stop, she started saying more interesting things that we wish we would have gotten on. So we got to work out this interview thing. So interviews are going to be streamed live, but at random times. So we're not going to really have. But the show, Healthy Talk Show, will be at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2300 UTC.
That being said, there's always an open invitation. So if you want to be a guest, let us know. If you want to be a co-host, we want to have recurring co-hosts.
Yes, guest co-hosts. People who are skilled at researching or just want to come on the show. We're reaching out to some people.
Yeah, and then you guys can look at the headlines and deconstruct just like we do.
Yep. And talk about things. Yeah, exactly. In the chat, someone said I could talk about MGTOW. Exactly. That's exactly right.
What's that? Find out later on Healthy Talk Show.
I know what it is. It's funny.
All right. What's the first headline you got for us?
All right. Well, a few headlines. CNN, Young blood company stops unproven anti-aging treatments after FDA warning. Ars Technica, blood of the young won't spare rich old people from sadness and death, FDA says. Bloomberg, beware of using young people's blood to halt anti-aging, FDA says. This is interesting. Hold on. I like that one because it shows Dracula for the video people. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued an alert Tuesday, February 19th, warning older consumers against seeking infusions of blood plasma harvested from younger people. Despite being peddled as anti-aging treatments and cures for a range of conditions, the transfusions are unproven and potentially harmful. In a statement, FDA Commissioner Scott, I have no idea, and the director of FDA Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, Peter Marks, wrote, simply put, we're concerned that some patients are being preyed upon by unscrupulous actors touting treatments of plasma from young donors as cures and remedies. The FDA didn't name any infusion companies specifically in its alert. One that has received a lot of media attention is a startup called Ambrosia. It has locations in Phoenix, Arizona, Los Angeles, California, Tampa, Florida, Omaha, Nebraska, and Houston, Texas. And a single liter goes for $8,000, while 2 liters cost $12,000. Neither is covered by insurance.
So this is pretty interesting since we did talk about this, and I believe it was HTS 6 with Genesis,
yes.
The Science of Anti-Aging.
Yep.
And so all this was based upon this study of the mouse studies, which you can see that's mentioned there. But even when we did our episode, we mentioned that $8,000 did seem like a lot of money, and it hasn't been proven in people. Yeah. And then it's also interesting because we're kind of waiting for the results of the study done by the Ambrosia people. So, of course, you have the placebo effect because for $8,000, I'd probably feel better.
Yeah.
Or at least.
It's similar to what they say about Amazon reviews. And when you buy something, you spend money on something, you're automatically, mentally predispositioned to like it because you spent the money, you invested something into it, so now you're going to like it.
Yeah, and if you flip over to my screen really quickly, so we have this clinical trial here. So you see that they completed the clinical trial, but no results posted. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that page every day. We keep refreshing.
Healthy Talk Show.
A lot of people believe this works. What do you think? I started diving into the comments and some of the more conspiratorial news sites that I follow just because I like to follow all sources of news. And a lot of the commenters are thinking that these are the elites stopping us peasants from getting the hold of, anti-aging cures. But I don't know what peasants have $12,000 or $8,000 to spend on this stuff, to be honest with you. So I don't know.
But at the same time, I always go with, if you're more than welcome to spend $8,000 if you want on this. Yes, there isn't much evidence for it, but
people believe it works. Is it hurting anybody else if they know the risks?
Yeah. There's always a risk of getting diseases when you do all these blood transfusions, infections, of course. But as long as you're aware of the risk and you have the money, who knows?
It could work. I'm not disputing if it works or not. I really don't know. I can't afford it, so I don't even want to look into it.
Yeah, and the science isn't out yet.
Yeah. It's still young.
At least for humans, and I don't even think they've done other mammals yet. So
keep on trucking.
Well, we'll keep waiting.
Well, that wasn't covered by insurance, and neither are hearing aids and fertility testing. New York Times, the medical tech that helps you when your doctors can't. This was a long story about some things, mostly about hearing aids that are right now $4,700 a pair.
I had no idea hearing aids were that expensive.
Well, they're not covered by insurance because they're considered to be an elective procedure.
That's ridiculous.
Like cosmetic surgery and whatnot. So there's a startup, kind of a Silicon Valley kind of startup called Eargo. Low-cost hearing aids from $1,400 to $2,500 a pair. They are Class 1 medical devices by the FDA, so they can treat light to moderate hearing loss. And then another company about fertility. Apparently, there's no fertility treatment in the healthcare system right now. It's only infertility, which means you have to be trying for 9 to 12 weeks, which isn't a proactive approach. It's a reactive approach. You should know ahead of time, So I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's very interesting. I think it's good in the sense that more competitive, so hopefully lower prices overall, since we do have issues with really high healthcare costs.
Mm-hmm. But accessibility is where it's at.
Yeah.
Hearing aids are getting really sophisticated. They have Bluetooth in them, which I don't quite know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of constantly having that sort of radiation next to your head.
Yeah.
But again, you're free to do as you want.
Do what you want. 5G, 6G, whatever you want. BBC, Super-Gonorrhea. Uh-oh. Causes deep concern. 2 women in the UK have been infected with Super-Gonorrhea, sparking deep concern from sexual health doctors. Both women have since been cured of their infections, which were resistant to the main therapy. We have some videos about this. Let's check this out. This is interesting. Super-Gonorrhea. I didn't know a lot of this stuff. Let's check this out.
Until January 2019, this clinic in London used to treat gonorrhea patients with 2 drugs. But because of global growing resistance to one of the drugs, they're now on the last line of treatment, which is ceftriaxone.
That's scary.
Yeah.
So there were 2 drugs, but now they're down to 1 drug for the initial treatment. Want to play the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Super-Gonorrhea.
If left untreated, it's an STI that can lead to infertility and even blindness in newborn babies. And it's not just passed through penetrative sex. It can also be passed through unprotected oral sex and even touch.
Yikes.
I thought I had conjunctivitis, as you can see here, but it actually turned out to be gonorrhea in my eye. There it is. Lovely.
So she contracted gonorrhea in her eye, presumably by giving some genital stimulation with her hand and then rubbing her eye.
That's what she definitely implied. She said that there are no bodily fluids in her eyeball.
That is scary.
Yeah, that is
So-
very disturbing.
Now hand jobs are not safe. Crap.
Use protection, guys.
Even for a hand job?
Yes, apparently. We made fun of that movie for...
Yeah. Love Simon.
Yeah.
When they brought up hand jobs and HPV.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Although I don't know that you could get HPV in the eye. I'll have to double check that.
Don't think
but
so. This gonorrhea,
definitely-
super-gonorrhea is
Yeah, if you don't want to get super gonorrhea in the eye, definitely use protection.
or at least wash your hands.
Well, don't rub your eye after.
Yeah, don't rub
You
your eye
know.
after. Patient 0 for super-gonorrhea. Let's check this out.
Patient Zero is a British man who in 2018 travelled to Thailand and came back to England with the world's worst case of gonorrhea in his throat. The usual antibiotics would not shift his gonorrhea, so instead he was treated with a different antibiotic used only for severe infections. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Patient Zero hasn't spoken to any media. But what we did find out during the making of this film is that Patient Zero had sex with a woman who he met in Thailand on a dating app. Once he was treated, Public Health England said attempts were underway to find and treat the source to stop the super-gonorrhea from spreading. But the woman who gave it to him, she's never been found.
In terms of things like Grindr or Tinder, it's increasingly easy to be able to have anonymous sex. And that just means there are absolutely no details whatsoever about the patient. And however hard you try to engage the patient to try and contact them or to try and get a contact detail, it's still almost impossible sometimes.
Oh, bad editing on my part. Whoops. Yeah, it's scary. Patient 0. We have a chatter. What are the statistics on this? There's probably 12 cases in the U.S. Dude, 12 cases of gonorrhea being transmitted through the eyes? That's interesting. That's something we need to be aware of, considering STIs are such a big issue right now. As the clip was stating, thanks to Tinder and all these apps that are now touted to, sex anonymously. Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty big issue, buddy.
The other issue,
Do some research.
As we become, as these STIs become more resistant to treatment, then we're going to have more and more cases of this. And this doesn't just apply to gonorrhea. This applies to any sort of infection. It used to be able to treat anything with penicillin. Then now we've had to go to more and more drugs. And they mentioned later on too how they're trying to develop new drugs to treat this super gonorrhea. But it's important to stop the spread before you have to keep resorting to all these drugs.
Exactly. Let's scare 6 people in the chat and tell them to have sex. Oh my God. First of all, I think you left a word out there. But it's okay.
Wait, hey, having sex is fine, but we're just telling people to use protective.
Protection is important.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we
and here are 2 clips.
To use condoms every time.
Even for oral sex?
Well, no, I think given that that's actually true, I totally didn't think of that.
So if you're going to have oral sex with someone, would you say, okay, let's put a condom?
No. So you're right, I'm an idiot. Ugh. Like if somebody tried to use a dental dam on me, I'd be like, get away.
One more.
Been barebacking for about 2 to 3 years on and off.
Having that connection with someone else's body without something else in the way. Imagine touching snow without a glove. There's something about it that just feels nicer. If people know their status and they're safe and they proceed carefully with partners, then there shouldn't be an issue. I've had chlamydia and syphilis once.
What do you think when someone mentions super-gonorrhea?
I don't really hear about it that often unless it comes up on the news or in conversation. And I don't think people view it as a serious threat due to that lack of knowledge about it.
Do you not view it as a serious threat?
Not particularly, no.
That's bothersome because both of them have been treated for STIs.
And then there's this weird stigma too against dental dams, which I don't quite understand. And so that's another thing that we want to continue to bring awareness to. We actually did an episode early on how to make your own dental dam from a condom. So use protection.
Yep. Use it. Sorry, I'm trying to reload the chat here. It kind of crashed. All right. I guess we can move on.
Yes.
But it's just really disturbing that the two people in the movie, in this little docu-series, don't want to use condoms.
Get yourself checked. Use condoms. Use protection.
Yep.
Wash your hands.
The person in the second video, he actually mentioned that proper education isn't provided to the LGB community. I don't know why I said that backwards. The community. And I agree with that. It's probably not. It's not really where you're from in Texas. Sex education for...
Yeah. It's
bad.
Basically abstinence only. So
Bad. Just get yourself checked and sleep with people you trust. No big deal. Yeah.
Another thing too, anytime you're switching between partners, if there are multiple people involved, make sure you switch the condom
in threesome
every time.
situations, between switching partners, switch the condom. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. You need to do that. Bodily fluids. That's what you got to watch out for.
We just want everyone to be safe.
Mm-hmm. And healthy.
Healthy talk show.
Gizmodo. Here's what people Google before going to the hospital. You have this one?
I have this study.
Yep. Well, I just pulled that. The study found that more than half of patients who visited an emergency room and were willing to share their Google search history search for information related to their health problems in the week before their visit, which is disturbing to me. A lot of people turned over their personal information.
Yeah, so we could flip over to the study. We could talk a little bit more about that. So the study was pretty small. So they only approached 700 patients, and I think at the end only 100 agreed to have their full data history turned over. And it was also a large number of young women, so that could also skew the data. But it did bring up some interesting points about privacy, and then also being able to predict when people are going to go to the emergency room. So kind of for the future, if they're monitoring what people are Googling, then they might be able to predict, we're going to have these people show up in the ER pretty soon.
Google or whoever's tracking, whoever's collecting the data.
And so that always brings up privacy concerns. So I'm not sure. I mean, on one hand, it's good. You want the ER to be prepared. On the other, how are they getting this data?
What are they using it for?
Yeah, that's another concern.
It is. And
then, of course, as always, they always tell you don't Google your symptoms in WebMD.
Everyone always cautions against WebMD. Everyone says don't look at WebMD because it'll scare you.
Yeah, and they said the same sort of thing here. Don't Google your symptoms, and sometimes the Google autofill will start making suggestions, and then that might influence people's reactions or decisions. Maybe they think they're dying or not dying. So
could be dying though.
Go to your doctor.
Yep, go to your doctor. Call your doctor.
Yeah.
Healthy Talk Show's advice. Morning walk, maybe as good as medication for lowering blood pressure. I don't really even know what to say here. Just walk more. I just wanted to bring awareness that people need to walk more.
Yeah. It was interesting. It was good. The study mainly found that this effect was greater in women, but it helped everybody. So more walking is always good. Walking during your lunch breaks.
I'm a big proponent of walking. Yes, exactly. On your breaks. Walk on your breaks. If you work in an office, walk on your breaks. Is Tank being okay to the recorded podcast?
Yeah, as long as he sits in my lap, that'll be good.
It doesn't sit on the
Sapphire.
The audio interface or a camera. Science Daily, 3 years into soda tax, sugary drink consumption down more than 50% in Berkeley. Taxes may be a promising new tool in the fight against obesity, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. Summary. Interesting summary. Consumption of sugary drinks dropped 52% among Berkeley's low-income residents in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I don't know if you had an opinion chat room.
Yeah, about that.
I thought this was really unfair since, again, this tax is something that disproportionately taxes the poor.
That's what taxes usually do that.
Yeah. So I always have, I feel like that's fundamentally wrong to kind of disproportionately put a burden on the poor like this.
Yeah. I just don't like the poor being taxed. That's the thing. I really don't. And that just, soda is triggered towards the poor because it's super cheap.
Yeah.
And it's just junk. So I
at the same time, I feel like people should be allowed to drink what they want to drink and not have things taxed. So
yeah, not be penalized for it.
Yeah, obviously we support just drinking water.
Yeah,
and
until that starts getting taxed more and more.
Don't say that. Water is a complex issue. We're not going there today.
Oh, we're not going there today. Okay, good. Daily Mail. I love these. I tell you, 1 out of 10 of their stories is okay. The world's best-selling drug costs 6 times more in the U.S. than in the U.K. because Big Pharma is gaming the American patent system. Where'd it go? Right here. And we actually have a clip from... Where is that clip from? NBC, I think. I should have noted that. I'm such a bad person. Let's play this clip.
28-year-old Annalise Mabe can't live without Humira to treat her Crohn's disease, a debilitating intestinal condition.
It's really life or death. Just a year ago, I was hospitalized due to complications from Crohn's.
Moderate to severe Crohn's disease.
Heavily marketed on television, Humira has a list price of more than $2,400 per dose. In the United States, that is. In Europe, you can get Humira for much less. In the UK, for example, it is 1/6 the price. Why the difference?
We have a system here in the United States where you can keep filing the same patent over and over and over again, even if it's rejected by the patent office, and it becomes a war of attrition.
So is this a deliberate attempt to stifle competition?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Attorney Tahir Amin runs IMAC, an organization crusading against what he calls patent abuse. They found the top 12 grossing drugs in the U.S. each average 125 pounds.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Patent applications.
This is the most egregious example. This drug alone has the most patents out of all of them.
Humira's original patent protection expired in 2016, but drug maker AbbVie has filed 247 patents on the drug, meaning while cheaper similar versions are now available in Europe, here in the U.S., Humira is still the only option. A vice president for AbbVie promoting its lawyer's success in preserving exclusivity on a recent investment call, saying, "You've seen us execute very nicely with our legal strategy." While the company has dropped the price of Humira in Europe, here in the U.S., it has more than doubled since 2012. In a statement to NBC News, AbbVie says, "Our discoveries have led to Humira's approval for 10 serious diseases. Patents encourage and reward the significant investment we've made. And we are focused on balancing the need for continued investment in the next generation of medicines, while also ensuring affordability and access for our patients today."
There we go. Screwing the U.S. consumer yet again. Chat room, do you think we should allow drugs to be patented? That's an interesting question. What do you think, Marissa?
You know, honestly, I feel like we need to redo the whole healthcare drug development system. That's kind of, I guess, a topic for another day.
I understand profits to drive innovation, but at the same time, profits at the expense of health of people.
And it seems like they're not really doing any developments. They're just
they're
claiming that they find new cures, new uses.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it can also help with hair loss. Well, no, not in this example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is almost criminal, so.
Well, don't say that. Almost, that's true. Almost. We don't want to be.
It's definitely, I feel like it's unethical, but.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's a good point. Yellow Swag Lord. Are patents the issue or is affordable healthcare the issue?
It's kind of all the same.
Yeah, it's all intertwined. That's the problem.
Yeah, because, you know, companies always argue that if you want them to continue to develop drugs, that they need the money to fund that. And I understand that. Science is very, very expensive.
Yes. Scientists are not cheap. They're not cheap labor.
Yes, and all the equipment. But the problem is that it comes at the price of people's health. And we've talked about it in our previous episodes, how people are dying because they can't get the drugs that they need. So.
Exactly. And this is an issue that we're going to just keep following.
It's a very complex issue.
Yeah, it's very intertwined. We want to do an episode on this. It's just really difficult. We want to start back in history and look at history and then look at where we are now. That's the approach we'd like to take. I don't know.
But we definitely need more competition for these drugs to lower the prices.
Yep.
But, you know, again, I understand why we have patents and patent laws.
And profitability, but still.
But
this is humanity we're talking about here. This is helping people.
If you guys want to comment more, you can always email us, ask@healthytalkshow.com. Give us your opinions.
Call us up.
Especially if you're in the drug industry.
Yeah. Give us a voicemail. 509-878-3229. Well, I'll answer that question off stream, my friend. You'll be surprised. Science Daily, American drug overdose death rates the highest among wealthy nations. That's disturbing.
Yeah.
Talking about the issue here. What do you think?
So this is pretty interesting. It says now that you're more likely to die of opiate overdose rather than a car crash.
Yep. Over 70,000 people died from drug overdoses in the United States in 2017.
Yeah, and it said, a lot of this could be from the marketing campaign by the manufacturers of Oxycontin. So now they got people addicted to these painkillers. And then this has also led people to seek out fentanyl and other opiates. This is another, it's an issue that we've been following of how the legal drugs are definitely also bad for you in some ways. It's all a matter of dosage.
Yep. And
the problem is they kind of made these drugs too good, and they get you addicted.
They work a little too well. Yeah. Sad.
Yeah.
Vapin 360. Juul launches nationwide ad campaign aimed at adult smokers. Interesting takeaway. Juul Labs is launching an adult education campaign that will include $10 million in TV advertising. The TV spots follow similar ads on radio, social media, and in print publications. The entire campaign will cost the company $20 million. Juul's incredible success has been driven in part by the free advertising it has received from the Truth Initiative, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, American Academy of Pediatrics, the FDA, CDC, and a few thousand national, regional, and local news stories accusing the product of addicting a new generation to nicotine and fomenting a massive public scare. Yeah, about time they advertised towards adults for once. Well, and yeah. Here, we actually have an ad if you guys want to watch.
Yeah, let's watch this ad. This is what made me think of this, because I actually heard this on the radio, and I thought it was pretty interesting.
There were smoking sections on airplanes, in restaurants, and then gradually it got to be where it wasn't anywhere. It's not part of the social norm anymore. It's not accepted. I was at a party this summer, and there wasn't a single person smoking. Even in my own home, I had my own designated space to smoke. If I think about it, it really was like I was punishing myself. It was really a friend of mine that said, why wouldn't you just try the Juul? And I thought, okay, I'll try it. And so I went out and I bought one. The idea of going back to smoking is, I couldn't even imagine doing that. I just don't enjoy it anymore. I don't think anyone, including myself, thought that I could switch.
Carolyn made the switch October 2016. Make the switch. Juul.com. I did not watch that before the show because I figured that's where it would be taking us, but wow, so they are really pushing that it's a cure for cigarettes.
Yeah.
But either way, they're pushing the nicotine. That's all that matters. Sell that nicotine. That's all that matters.
Is still addictive.
Yeah, they're selling the addictive substance just in a different form. Good job.
What's even funnier is how they arrived at these conclusions that they're pushing, because they cite these two studies. Now you can flip over to my screen now. And so here's one summary of the study. So it's a survey of former smokers and how they compared, or how they fared after using Juul, and found that once they switched to these Juul cigarettes, they didn't go back to regular cigarettes. And then there's this other article here about the harmfulness and addictiveness of using a Juul e-cigarette. And this is, again, just kind of like a survey study. Now, if you give me a second, we'll zoom in.
Yep.
And let's see.
This is compelling. We're looking at a study here for the audio listeners.
Wait, maybe it was the other one. Sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
Declaration of funding. Let me zoom in a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. Who funded this study?
So you guys can read that.
Yeah, declaration of funding for this great research, unbiased research. Oh, my goodness.
Funding.
Juul. Wow. I am shocked by that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do we need a reminder on who funds Juul?
Who owns Juul?
So if we go to the Wikipedia page.
Yep. Who owns these guys?
We see very recently, in December 20th, 2018, Juul Labs received $12.8 billion in funding from Altria, the maker of Marlboro.
Thank goodness. That's right. Perfect. We're gonna get them addicted to a new product. Hey, switch over. Man, that's insane. in the chat. I got the chat. What would you recommend people do to quit cigarettes? That's tough. That is a tough one.
I hear patches are pretty successful.
Yeah,
I've heard some bad things about Chantix, but I can't speak personally.
I've heard some bad things about Chantix too. Weird things like people sleepwalking and stuff. It's I don't know. And then from the chat, my first reaction to this commercial is that these people are in a different social class than me. And someone said, yeah, that house is wild. Yeah, you're right. That house is gigantic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of space in that third living room.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Pretty funny. So I don't know. Is that supposed to make Jewel a ritzy product then?
It's maybe a higher end. Maybe iPhone, Apple product kind of thing. Do some branding.
Kind of sleek, sexy.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
I like that.
I don't even know what these things look like. I just see people sucking on little things and vapor come out of their mouth. It's just weird. I always think, are you smoking weed? And then it's not weed.
Oh, geez. I'm so sorry to hear that you got pneumonia. That is no joke.
Yeah, can't wait for the celebrity Jewel. Yeah, who's going to be first? Who's
true.
the first celeb? Oh, man. Our recommendation from all this stuff is to stick to cannabis. The stuff that grows everywhere, anywhere. That's what if it's legal in your state, in your area, in your region, I would highly encourage you to explore that. Don't do the vape weed because that stuff is also, we're trying to get some researchers on to talk about the dangers of the vape product itself, the actual cartridge. Oh, someone in the chat has a vape pen. Yeah. You got to watch that vape episode once it comes out. We've been trying to get it going. We don't recommend
vape pens either.
We don't recommend them. We recommend a good old...
Yeah, because it's the same ethylene glycol.
Good old bong for weed. Good old bong.
Yeah, I understand the convenience. Maybe edibles.
Yeah, maybe some edibles with the you're never going to get them right, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. We understand the convenience behind vape. But Tucker Carlson on Fox, this is interesting. So, I don't know. Let's see what he has to say let's see what Fox has to say about weed. Gotta wait for this clip to play.
As you know, if you've been paying any attention at all, there's literally nothing cooler than marijuana. Cool people smoke weed, and that's why total legalization nationwide seems inevitable. But as marijuana use rises, a mysterious illness called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome is affecting some heavy users. Not a lot is known about this, but symptoms include what they're calling scromiting, an uncontrollable wave of screaming and vomiting. Might be worth learning more considering the ubiquity of marijuana, so we're joined by Fox contributor Dr. Mark Siegel, our in-house doctor. We're grateful to have him. Dr. Siegel, what is this?
Well, Tucker, we use marijuana to decrease nausea and pain medicinally, medically. But as is in anything in medicine, when you start using a lot of it, you get the reverse effect than you actually want.
Is that true? So if you use a lot of aspirin, do you start getting headaches?
That might be true.
You have to use a lot of aspirin to get headaches, though.
You can probably OD on aspirin pretty easily.
Really?
Aspirin's not that great.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm skeptical. Let's continue.
So this is for chronic pot smokers out there. Places where it's recreational. We see a ton of this in Colorado, by the way, and flooding emergency rooms. Probably over 3 million people in the...
He said probably over 3 million people in the U.S., by the way. Probably. That's a code word there. He means he's full of shit.
United States are affected because what happens is the pot, when you start using a lot of it, turns off the receptors in the nerves that are supposed to suppress nausea and pain. So you're nauseous, you're in pain, and the only thing that works for this, Tucker, is hot showers. It floods the receptors, it turns them back on, you go back to normal, but you got to be in the shower for 6 hours. Guess what the cure is? Stop smoking pot. Kamala Harris out there, stop smoking pot. That's the cure.
He's writing his own jokes, too.
Yeah.
Look at him. He thinks he's funny. Look.
6
hours. Waiting for a laugh.
So, I mean,
nope.
It seems to me, I've never heard of this. I grew up in California. It seems like there's still a lot we don't know about the medical effects of heavy marijuana use.
And that's the take-home message here. I talk a lot about long-term effects in terms of behavioral changes, judgment, how you do on exams, effects on the lungs. This is a big one, and I'll tell you the biggest take-home here. People misdiagnose this.
The face? Look, he says Carlson's doing the face in the chat. Look, he's doing the face where he's just...
Yeah. He's very, very serious.
Very stern. He's very serious.
This is very urgent.
This is urgent. Get the CDC.
All the time. Tucker, people have had their gallbladders taken out by mistake because they come to an emergency room vomiting uncontrollably, and even doctors are not used to this, but over 3 million people. And as we zoom up to more than 10 million who are chronically smoking pot nationwide, we're going to see more and more of this. This is a terrible side effect, pain and vomiting. And it's a warning for people out there. There is no free lunch here.
There's no free lunch here, everybody.
If you want to talk about trying to scare people, this is definitely it.
Yeah.
So we tried looking up studies on it, so we can flip over to my screen for a second, and I found only a very few select cases. So here we have in 2004 Australia, they studied 9 cases of this. The US 8, another one 4. So this is extremely rare.
Yeah.
I think all of California would be running around screaming vomiting if this was true.
That's exactly. And come on, and I know we have some pot smokers in the chat room. I smoke a lot of cannabis myself. It's very medicinal. It helps me sleep, and I don't have pain. It actually helped with my pain. Remember when we first met?
Yeah.
And I had those really bad migraines that would paralyze the crap out of me, physically paralyze me, and I'd roll up into a ball and I'd be in so much pain. Never had since I started smoking weed. No migraines.
That's very true.
No migraines.
So yeah. Definitely way over sensationalized.
Yeah, thanks Fox News. But, they all do it. They all do it to sell stuff. I just don't know why he's going anti-weed. I think it's because he has to for the audience. He's probably following in the footsteps of great other conservatives that have to be anti-weed.
Kind of silly.
I follow the anti-weed thing. YouTube is in trouble again. I've got a few headlines here. This is an interesting story that took place last week and still developing. CNBC, Nestle, and others have suspended YouTube ads over news of pedophilia network on the site. The Verge, YouTube's child predator comment controversy, all the latest updates. That's the one we're going to look at. The Washington Post, YouTube axes tens of millions of comments in crackdown on child sexual exploitation. On Sunday, YouTuber Matt Watson sparked a major backlash against YouTube when he posted a video describing how a softcore pedophilia ring of child predators have been using YouTube's recommendation algorithms to discover innocuous videos of children and communicate with another by posting predatory comments in YouTube's comment section. His video has over 2 million views, so a lot of people have seen this video. Several major brands such as Disney and Nestle halted advertising because of the whole scandal. And here's this is how the article explains it. You try to follow the process too. In a video that was viewed nearly 2 million times, Matt Watson detailed how users who visit YouTube for bikini shopping videos can eventually be nudged to watch videos featuring young girls. After clicking on several bikini videos, YouTube's recommendation engine suggests that users watch videos with minors. That's bad. And this isn't child porn on YouTube. This is more, it's just children on video, and then they highlight the video, isolate a certain aspect where it shows more upskirt or whatever you want to call it. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I tried following what he did in the video. So it seems like YouTube has already taken action to change this. They fixed the algorithms, and now the recommendations are still broken, Pookie.
Yeah, now they go to nothing useful at all.
Yeah, now they're just random
it's
sports
just
stuff.
random. They just machine gun random stuff at you when you start trying to go down this hole now. they turned off the algorithms. There are no algorithms. It's just recommend random video now.
Yeah, because I tried this on a fresh account, VPN, so it was all clean slate.
Yep.
And then I just got random sports stuff, and so at least they fixed this. And I noticed a lot of the comments were disabled. I don't know what was YouTube's doing and what was, of course, the personal posters doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of unfortunate, though, that the advertising gets pulled, because I feel like the advertising getting pulled, that hurts the creator now.
Yep.
And, these children that posted the video, obviously, they didn't mean for it to be taken like that.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
Oh, no. I think you were going to say what I was going to say.
How do you stop this?
Yeah.
It's people. You can't. I don't think you can stop this. Because they're editing source video that's clean into something that's not. Something that's innocent, they're taking it just by isolating a certain portion and making it no longer clean. It's now
and
exploitation.
This goes back to the parents as well.
Yeah. Where are the parents?
Yeah. Because these users, I don't remember how old you have to be to use YouTube technically for their terms of service.
Probably 13. It's pretty much 13 across the board.
That's what I would presume, but some of these girls may be younger, at least they appear younger.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're posting stuff under whose account or they're falsifying their age, but
probably they do.
At some point,
parents need to be accountable. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it goes back, sorry, but with Michael Jackson. And, he did it or didn't. I'm talking about the pedophilia thing. The parents were allowing the kids to sleep over this man's house. I'm not letting my child sleep over a man's house who has an amusement park in his backyard and wants to give my child wine. Not going to happen. Just throwing that out there. And I know there was money on the side, all that stuff, but still, parents need to be accountable for their children. When you have children, you are accountable. Hence why I do not have children. I am not responsible enough to have children.
Yes. They're your responsibility.
Yeah.
Legally until they're 18.
Unless I can tie them up in the backyard, I can't have children. It's not going to happen. I can't do it. Just not responsible enough. Is that it?
Yeah. Well, the problem with R. Kelly is he actually did stuff with underage.
Yeah. Well, allegedly he peed on a 14-year-old or 15-year-old or something. Allegedly.
At least the YouTube, as far as we know, there were actually no children harmed. But
we hope. And that's you can't. I don't think this can be stopped. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying I don't see how this can be stopped.
Yeah.
Unless I don't know how this can be stopped. How can this be stopped? It's the internet. We need to educate people once stuff's up there. I don't know. BuzzFeed. YouTube just demonetized anti-vax channels. Interesting. The Verge. YouTube pulls ads from anti-vax conspiracy videos. 7 different advertisers said they weren't aware their ads were appearing on videos like Moms Research Vaccines, Discover Vaccination Horrors, and Go Vaccine Free, which advocates against vaccinating children, and reached out to YouTube to pull the that word got cut off. Whatever, the placements. Yeah. So this is interesting because we just talked about this going on, and now they're demonetizing the anti-vax videos, which that's fine. They can do whatever they want. But they're doing it based on research that we talked about last week. That's BS research, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our buddy, what's his name? Alex Jones. He posted a blog post on this because he got demonetized by the same people.
Funny.
And he's saying that BuzzFeed, and it does in the story say that they contacted these advertisers and talked to them. He's accusing them of them contacting the advertiser and the advertisers contacting YouTube kind of thing. BuzzFeed instigating the whole thing. Don't know if that's true or not, but here, Larry Cook, the anti-vax leader behind Stop Mandatory Vaccinations, said on Facebook his entire channel is demonetized, but that YouTube hadn't contacted him about the change. That's kind of jacked up. It is unfortunate that YouTube does not see the value in advertisers reaching a very large and thriving demographic who believe in alternative medicine, holistic health, and natural remedies, Cook told BuzzFeed via email. Shutting down monetization goes on alternative health channels just means that alternative health advertisers will go elsewhere to reach their intended audience. Very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, this is always a problem with advertising.
Yeah.
They could always pull it, and then now what?
And YouTube with demonetizing, they should at least tell you you're being demonetized, So, I don't know. Come on, send an email or something. Shoot.
This is true. This is why we don't have ads, though, at Healthy Talk Show.
It's why we would never have ads.
But we need your support.
HealthyTalkShow.com/support. More from the BuzzFeed article, just revisiting our last week's episode. Following a measles outbreak, U.S. Rep. Adam Schiff demanded last week that Facebook and Google, which owns YouTube, addresses the risk of the spread of medical misinformation about vaccines on their platforms. Facebook responded last week by saying it would take steps to reduce the distribution of health-related misinformation on Facebook. Again, last week's episode, we talked about the letter. We talked about everything. Gotta show you something really cool from the BuzzFeed site, though. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
Is it gonna work? Come on. Oh, yeah. Okay, check this out. This is cool. Okay, look. This is after they were demonetized. This is before. You see how there's a nice ad there? Oh, yeah. Talking surgeon with vaccine injured son. Now, vaccine. I can't see. Vaccine controversy. That's all. I can't see.
Yeah. Vaccine hesitancy.
Yeah.
Or reluctance or refusal to vaccinate. Oh, it's the Wikipedia thing that they now add too.
That's so fancy.
Yeah.
I like BuzzFeed's little slider thing. That was a very fancy piece of technology. I think that's really cool. All right. Now, we're going to talk about something that you want to talk about. What are we going to talk about?
Are you going to play a clip first?
Jussie Smollett and the media. We're not going to talk about the case, what happened, because I think everyone knows what happened. It's more about the media.
Yes.
And what the media did and what politicians were propagating. They were all propagating this before we knew anything.
So let's play the clips of the tweets to kind of set...
The tweets? All right.
Yeah, the tweets.
The tweets from politicians.
Yeah.
Take a look-see. Here's Kamala Harris, who's running for president. Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know. I'm praying for his quick recovery. Kamala, good news. It looks like he's fully recovered. This was an attempted modern-day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin.
Okay, that's the tweet that the person that was hopeful for the Democratic Party before Bernie announced posted. Let's hear her response just really quick. I had to throw this in here just because it's so... Watch the video and watch. It's good.
Which tweet? What tweet? About saying that it is a modern day lynching, that...
She looks over at presumably the person that probably wrote the tweet, and she's thinking, what the heck did this... Why did she write this tweet? What is she doing? Because... using the word lynching, that's a pretty heated word there.
Sorry. Jussie Smollett.
That sucks.
That
if she
good.
Actually... here's some more tweets.
Here's Senator Cory Booker, who I think is running for president. I'm not quite sure. He says... This vicious attack on actor Jussie Smollett was an attempted modern-day lynching. I'm glad he's safe. To those in Congress who don't feel the urgency to pass our anti-lynching bill designating lynching as a federal hate crime, I urge you to pay attention. Just FYI, lynching someone is a crime, just like stabbing someone or poisoning someone or, I don't know, running someone. It's a crime. Here's Joe Biden, Obama's former vice president, might be running for president himself. He said, what happened today to Jussie Smollett must never be tolerated in this country. We must stand up and demand that we no longer give this hate safe harbor, that homophobia and racism have no place on our streets or in our hearts. We are with you, Jussie. Here's Bernie Sanders.
There we go. Oh, Bernie Sanders. One more. Sorry.
The racist and homophobic attack on Jussie Smollett is a horrifying instance of the surging hostility towards minorities around this country. We must come together to eradicate all forms of bigotry and violence. Here's a new Palestinian...
I agree with that.
So my main complaint is how sensationalized and how the media makes it sound like there's so much hate. And I have this study pulled up that's called Perceiving Hate Crimes, a comparative analysis of major newspaper coverage of hate crimes in the United States and the United Kingdom. And so the media, they find, the media's representation of social problems has a direct impact on the society's perception of various types of social problems. And I feel like the damage is already done. Even though it's, obviously we're still working out the details, but it seems like this whole attack was falsified. The damage is done, though. People believe that there's that much hatred.
Yeah, the people going around in MAGA hats specifically with this much hatred. Let's not leave that part out.
And you see this too, that they found that the media reports directly impact the perceptions of how pervasive social problems are. This can lead communities to develop a fallacious fear of victimization, leading to moral panic. So this is what we're seeing here. We're lumping all these MAGA supporters, Trump supporters, whatever you want to call them, together as just some sort of hateful entity that runs around lynching people.
Yeah.
And that's my issue. And the media never stopped to ask any questions or anything.
No. And
the thing is, and I wouldn't have brought this up except that I saw so many people on my own Instagram also tweeting and saying, oh, screw these MAGA people. F MAGA, F Trump.
Yeah. And Trump had nothing to do with this at all. So I don't know how Trump keeps coming into the conversation. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
But because it was orchestrated to do so. This was an orchestrated hate crime to get some kind of reaction out of people, and it got a reaction.
Yeah, and then another term that this study uses, they say agenda setting is a term used to describe the shaping of stories through media. It is through agenda setting that media outlets determine the way in which they could frame stories concerning social problems and crimes. And
yeah, that's perfect agenda setting.
Yeah. So they found something that agreed with their agenda of hating Trump or MAGA hating.
Yep.
Whatever. The fact that MAGA people are racist.
Yep.
And they ran with it. And everybody ran with it.
Without stopping to ask questions.
Yeah.
Because all the critics that were, pushed aside asking, why is this guy out at 2:00 in the morning, yada, yada, yada. They were just, oh no, you're against the community. It's just crazy. And asking questions is important. If the story were true as it was reported, which Trump would have Trump would not have a lot to do with it. He's not out there telling people to do this. That's not true. Actually, if it happens, Jussie Smollett is now accountable for it. He's accountable for any MAGA hate crimes as far as I'm concerned. He orchestrated one. Trump has never orchestrated one. Jussie Smollett did. So thank you very much. Now he is more responsible for these MAGA hate crimes than anybody else. Wouldn't the logic draw there? I didn't know who this guy was before this thing happened. I don't know. Celebrities? I don't care about celebrities. But now he's in the mainstream consciousness.
And my other problem is, too, again, we're kind of lumping everyone together as this hateful group. And all this hatred that's being bred by the media, that's what's not healthy. That's not helpful.
No, and again, sorry, the chat room. Directly, indirectly, it doesn't matter. Trump had nothing to do with it. He had nothing to do with it. The media is propagating this.
Yeah, and they're propagating hatred.
Exactly.
That's what's toxic.
Exactly.
And it's preventing conversations, and it's preventing people from coming together. No one can say that they support Trump without basically being
villainized.
Yeah.
And vilified, I mean. Yeah, that's true. You can't walk around with a MAGA hat on.
Yeah. And it's just not productive. And it's just ways to keep us divided. Do you have the clips from the other?
Yeah. Well, first, don't want to encapsulate Don Lemon first, just because this guy bothers me. This is just this encapsulates my problem with the media. These guys they all have huge heads, and just listen. I'm just playing the intro just because this guy's such a
Listen, I just want to talk about these stunning developments tonight in the Jussie Smollett story, the story that everyone is talking about, and I know people have been wondering what I had to say about it, but here it is. So everybody gather around the television set.
Yep, gather around the television set. Don's going to tell you. Don Lemon's going to tell you what's up. He's going to tell you what he thinks, because his opinion matters.
Yeah.
The facts don't matter. And the problem is with history and how we perceive it is a year from now, are there still going to be people that think that the attack did happen? Because the media they're not giving it as much press as they were originally when it was all over Instagram and everything. I don't see people posting, what's going on with Jussie Smollett now? Blah, blah, blah.
And
lock him up. I don't see anyone saying that.
And it wasn't just that he, faked this crime against him. It's he specifically said that it was MAGA hat wearing. They were shouting, racial slurs and so forth.
Yep.
And, people just look at something to see, as evidence.
Yeah, they're just looking for something, anything that they could draw and relate to Trump, or even let's just say the Republicans, but mostly Trump. They do it, and it's weird. It's really weird.
And so Yellow Swag Lord did post a link that hate groups rose sharply in recent years. I think I've read other things that said that maybe hate crimes are increasing, but again, this sort of polar reaction from the media doesn't actually help address these sort of hate crimes.
Yeah, it just keeps people divided instead of uniting.
And instead of having an actual conversation about, why there are hate crimes and actually trying to come together and make peace between the two groups, now you have this false incident, and now both sides are going to continue to hate each other even more as the right tries to defend itself and say, this didn't happen, which is true, it didn't happen, instead of addressing any hate. And now the left is going to say, well, screw you guys are still MAGA hat wearing hating people.
I'm going to have to agree with Destiny on this one. A Pookie in the chat. Breaking news is the worst thing that happened in the media.
That is true.
I would say Twitter is actually, because they're so reliant on Twitter, and
Yes.
Twitter is your own cataclysm. You follow people that agree with you. I think Twitter is destroying these reporters because they don't do any reporting anymore. It's all Twitter based. Get your butt out there and go do some investigative journalism.
Ask some facts.
Yeah, ask some questions, get some facts, go to police stations, do what you're supposed to do. Don't just sit on Twitter all day. Yeah, that too. And closing this off, we have some guy. I've never seen this guy. Fleeka's Talks. He was at UCLA asking people about the Jussie Smollett thing. We just have 2 quick clips just to close out this segment.
Think he should go to jail?
No, I don't think he should go to jail. I think he should face repercussions. I don't know about repercussions, but I don't think he should go to jail.
He almost like started like a race war almost. Right?
But
and like an
anti-gay.
anti-gay.
Nigerians who did it?
Yeah, his friends that he paid.
Yeah, so where was the race war?
Well, he said it was white people that were Trump people with red hats that said this is MAGA country and put a noose on his head.
There already is a race war, so maybe he's adding fuel to the race war, which I don't agree with that, but I don't think he should go to jail for it.
There's a race war? That's what she said.
I don't know. That's what I'm talking about, these toxic attitudes.
Yeah, it's a bit too far there. Race war? Let's see.
A black person on a flyer and saying faker. I get what he did was wrong, but I feel like black people are always the ones to be put on the forefront for doing bad actions. Not saying this was right at all, because I get what the message was. So that was the message behind it was positive, the execution wasn't. But I just feel like so many white people do bad things and they don't get put on the forefront.
Which message was positive and execution was bad?
There you go. That's a good question. I love this guy. He asked questions a reporter should be asking. She said that the message was positive. What positive message?
Well, the message that gay people are being attacked in the anti-Trump, I'm so for anti-Trump rallies. I'm so for that. The way it was executed, though, staging this was awful because people have to deal with this every day. And like for him to even put himself through that hurt was so, I don't know what was going through his head.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's kind of weird because the way she phrases it, she makes it sound like he was trying to stand up for everybody else.
But not really.
Yeah.
He was just trying to create some kind of instability.
Anyways, the takeaway point is the media is over-sensationalized and toxic and just dividing us.
And let's remember, Chicago Tribune. In Chicago, 43 people have been killed this year. That is 38 fewer than 2018. Data through Sunday, February 24th, through yesterday. 43 people. Do we know their names? What are their names?
Yeah, we need to talk about the actual
What are their names? Yeah, those are actually people dying in Chicago. But no, take away all the attention from people actually dying.
And that's what's also unfortunate. You know,
it's not very hard to divide us. That's true.
That's true, but it's also really sad.
Yeah, it is sad how easily we are manipulated and controlled.
That's why we need to slow down, ask questions, don't fire off that tweet.
Yep. You know, I always tell, don't send an angry email. Don't send an angry tweet. Someone's posting Bernie 2020 in the chat room. Healthy Talk Show does not officially endorse any major political party candidate. But Bernie 2020, I mean. Man.
I'm still upset Bernie is running as a Democrat, but you know.
Let's not talk about that. It's not political hour.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this. The next web, our relationship with dick pics is complicated. What do you think? Dick pics. Pictures of the penis. What's your takeaway on this?
You know, it's funny. I guess it all depends on whether the woman wanted the dick pic or whether it was a good penis.
Yeah, penis picture, yeah.
You know, we don't want a penis shame here.
No, we don't. Yeah. It's all in the eye of the beholder, but do women like them? That's what I'm getting at. I personally have never sent one. I don't remember sending one. I don't think I sent one to my ex. I'm pretty sure I did not send one to my ex.
You know, I feel like dick pics are pretty comical for the most part.
Really?
I'd probably appreciate
you like
dick
them.
pic
Oh,
from
okay.
you, but you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know.
Consent
is key. That's true. And we talk to women all the time, and when we find out they're on these online dating sites, we always ask them, "How are the dick pics?" And they say, "Oh, so many.
Yeah.
So many. Every guy. As soon as they get my number or my Instagram, dick pic, dick pic. It's crazy."
You know, I guess my problem with a dick pic too is usually they're trying to prove how large they are, and therefore how good in bed they are.
Yeah.
And you know, one, size doesn't correlate to performance.
Size is not an indicator. I'm sorry.
And then when it doesn't look like it's up to the size.
Yeah, and also leave it for surprise. I would say my advice, gentlemen, leave the surprise.
You're old fashioned a little.
In that way, I leave the suspense.
That's fair.
But you know, if you want to send, don't send us dick pics. We don't want those. But if you want to send it, you know, you're a young woman, want to send us pictures, go right ahead. 509-878-3229. I don't actually think we can get pictures on that line, but feel free to try.
Or ask at healthytalkshow.
Or ask at healthytalkshow.com. I don't know if our email server, I think it's sent to reject attachments.
You know, I just thought of something. Because did you see the latest iPhone feature has that thing where it can measure objects?
Yes.
I'm curious
I did see that.
How accurate it is for the D-pics.
Well, if anyone has a new iPhone and would like to test it, we can get a good sample size together and we could try it out. We could definitely do some research. That's easy. We can get a lineup going, get some rulers out.
Yeah. A very good comment in the chat.
Yes, if you're sending dick pics, definitely use an encrypted messenger. That is true.
Yes.
I highly recommend Signal. It's end-to-end encryption. It's the only messaging client I will recommend. I do not recommend anything else. Do not recommend WhatsApp. It's owned by Facebook. Don't trust those guys. Don't recommend Instagram for obvious reasons. Snapchat, the same thing. You want to go end-to-end encryption. Trust and believe. healthytalkshow.com/support.
Oh, someone in the chat says it's pretty accurate.
Well, come over and we can measure other things.
Yeah,
we can do some science here.
Let's
We can
do
get
some science.
We got a university right across the street.
We got rulers. We
got rulers. We got things to measure. Let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm
scientist
curious.
here.
She's a real scientist. She gets paid to be a scientist.
I have my ACS mug as proof.
Yeah. I have my Uline water bottle as proof of my past performance and job. Look up Uline. You guys will know what I did. Somewhat. What else? I think we're good.
Yeah, I think that's
We
it.
went, the recording says an hour 1. That's pretty good. Just the two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You going to say your end spiel?
Yeah, I am. Actually, next Sunday, March 3rd, is our 10th episode, everybody. We're really excited. We're going to have our special friend in the chat now. He's going to help us out. He's going to help us lay out our diet and how we lost 45 pounds without exercising. We just eat really healthy. 45 pounds. That's a lot of weight. And the reason why we have an outsider coming in, a close friend of the show, is because he's going to help us explain it clearly because we know our diet. We want to be able to explain it as clearly as possible. People at work always approach me, Robert, how'd you lose so much weight? Robert. And I'm so bad at explaining my diet. I'm, water. I drink lots of water. I eat grapes. I don't eat bread.
You do drink a ridiculous amount of water,
I do.
though, for the record.
I drink 6 to 10 liters a day. Lots of water. Water's good. 45 pounds. We both lost 45 pounds. The diet works. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're not in business.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we have nothing to sell you.
But you can support the show.
You can support us. healthytalkshow.com/support. And I have my end spiel. Thanks for watching. If you found value and useful information, please support the show by emailing us, ask@healthytalkshow.com, leaving us a voicemail, 509-878-3229, or supporting us financially at healthytalkshow.com/support. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again. Love and light.